Welcome, 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 all you precious treasures out there. It's Momma T here, and we're going to do a beautiful painting together today. So I have my palette ready. You can use whatever you've got. Some people like to use foam paper plates or like a dinner plate with saran wrap on it or plastic wrap. I'm only using 3 colors today, and I'm using cheapo paint, just pump out paint. I'm going to do a double pump of blue because we're using a lot of blue in this piece. You can see the piece that we're doing over there. It's a faith-based piece today for Church of the Messiah. And I'm going to use a bit of this not so cheap white paint, but it's the only one I had. Okay, so we're just using our primary colors. Using a limited palette can give you really good harmony in your piece. That means that none of the colors look out of place. You don't want out of place looking colors. Okay, so we'll start with the rule of thirds, and that's just you don't ever have to use this in your painting. Sometimes you can use it. We're going to use it today for the position of our focal point of the painting, which is our big bright moon, right about here. So if you imagine that somebody drew a big tic-tac-toe board on your paper or canvas, where these 2 lines intersect is where you want your big beautiful moon. So we're going to dip in our white, and I'm going to get quite a bit of paint loaded on there. I'm going to really glob it on, and I'm just going to start going around and around. You can almost just put like a little dot right in the middle and then just start swirling around that dot of paint. And then with my paintbrush still covered in white, I'm going to dip a tiny bit in the yellow there. Just a little hint of it, and then I'm going to start smearing that around the outside. And I'm dipping back into my white because I want to mute that a little bit. This is a bit too harsh so early on, so close to my moon. You can move this and manipulate it however you want. If you want to go bold and really yellow right at the beginning, you can. I don't want to. Okay, so I also keep a bottle of water spray. It helps to move the paint smoothly around the canvas. So I'm just going to give it a few little spritzes, and it's going to make my paint go farther too, which I also like. So I'm just getting a little more bold. It's gradually getting more yellow and less white as I move out from the middle. Here we go. Now I'm going to do another, I'm going to keep kind of layering it with the white as I go. I want to spritz a little more. Not too much, you don't want it dripping down. Every now and then I'll go a little crazy with the spritz and it'll start dripping down through your painting, and it's really terrible. You can't be trigger happy with your water. It's hard when you're doing a great big piece like this, but okay, so I've got my wet layer of white, and I'm just gonna quickly grab the tiniest little bit of blue on half my brush and yellow on the other half, and now I'm gonna start getting that involved. And bam, suddenly we're gonna have green factoring into this mix here. We're going to start getting that beautiful kind of halo effect that we see around the moon sometimes on cold Canadian nights that hopefully have been banished now that spring is here. I just grabbed a little white. I felt like the green was too harsh too quickly. I just grabbed a little white to push in there. It's a little more muted down here where I blended it too, but so you can see it's a very faint kind of coloring right now. You'll also notice I don't like this part here where it's not blended. So I'm going to just go in there and smooth that out a little bit, and I'm literally just going over the line with my brush to make that a bit smoother. I don't want any harsh lines at all in this painting, in this part at least. There, that's coming nicely. Going back in, gonna do my little faint smear of white there. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna start, we're gonna keep adding our green, but I'm gonna get bluer and bluer with it because we wanna be fading the light into this dark night that's happening here. So I've got that layer of white, and I'm gonna get, pick up my yellow again and a little more blue this time, and go around again. You'll find you'll have to get sort of more and more paint on your brush as your circle around your moon gets bigger. I've got some tonal changes in here where it's a little more yellow there, a little more blue there. I'm going to leave that. I kind of like it looking smeary. Not quite so uniform, but maybe you don't like that. You take your artistic license however you want. So I'm running into that same thing where I've got that harsh line that I don't want. I grabbed a little white just to mess with it a bit. Ooh, there's a little bird on my windowsill. Beautiful bright red cardinal. Maybe that should be our next painting. Okay, so I like more what's happening here. You don't want to see any canvas underneath. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of like white canvas showing down there. I can't stand that. I don't ever want any canvas showing, so I just give a little rub-a-dub and get in there and get rid of that. There. Okay, this is coming nicely. I like what's happening. I like the tonal changes. I like the color. So I'm going to go even darker this time, even more blue. Maybe start over here this time since this side isn't being favored. I don't want this side of the painting to feel left out. I'm just going to go around. So if you're using pencil crayon, you can either be blending by layering color, like you can start with a very faint yellow and then go over top with a very light, use really light pressure and color over top with blue. Or you can be using the actual colors and just start with your white, then go to yellow, then move to green. That's easy to do when you've got pencil crayons. So you can tell, look at the difference between here and here, where I have the white layered underneath and where I don't. You can see it starts to get pretty dramatically darker. So the colors are blending on the canvas as I paint. They're becoming green on the canvas as we go. Welcome if you're just joining us. Don't panic feeling like everything's too far ahead. You can I think you can go back and look at the beginning and start again if you want to, or just jump in and kind of eyeball it. There's no stress here. We're just painting for pleasure and to delight in the beautiful colors that God's given us. The whole theme of today's painting is hope and peace. I feel like those are pretty big themes of things that we need right now. Hope and peace. So it's a very calm picture that we're doing of a beautiful still night on the water with the moon shining. And the verse that I chose to put on mine is from Psalms. It says, "In peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." Oh, and I thought, what a nice thought to have printed in your bedroom that you look at before you go to sleep at night. So lovely. But you can pick whatever verse you want. It was kind of a toss-up between that and a few others that were really kind of hope-inspiring. What were the other ones? I had them written down. "Come to me, all who are weary." Oh, I love that one. "And I will give you rest." Oh, weary and heavy burdened, I think it says. Weary and burdened, yeah. So lovely. That would be another good one on here. Or there was a Proverbs one too about sleeping. What did it say? "In peace." Oh no, that's the one I did. "If you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet." Oh, isn't that a good one? You could put that in at the end too if you want. So you can see I'm getting darker and darker as I move out. I think I want to poke just a little more blue right there. Oh, it's kind of wet. It doesn't want to take it. Okay, I'll let it rest for a minute and I'll go back later. I like to go around the side of my canvas so that when the piece is finished, I can just pop it right up on my wall. I don't frame any of my art. Okay, I'm still going pretty heavy on the blue. As I get over here, I'm going to start adding in the tiniest little boop of red. And that's gonna really, really darken it. Look at that. See how that adds in just that next layer of dark. We want it to be kind of purpley. I'm gonna boop in a little bit more. I'm going back into my blue. So here you're tweaking color, right? Until it makes sense to your eye and until it's doing kind of what you want it to do. I feel like it's not dark enough soon enough. So I'm gonna push it back a little bit. I'm gonna grab blue and yellow to make the purple, and I'm gonna start pushing it back a little bit more this way because I feel like I want it to be, I don't want it to look like day, right? It's nighttime here. We want to sleep. We don't want a big bright sun shining in our face. So the moon is beautiful, but we want it dark outside. Let's get it a little darker. Look at that beautiful rich color that those three make. Isn't that glorious? Oh, beautiful. So here we have all three. We have yellow, red, and blue. And down here is just the red and blue. So you can see and get a sense of what they're all doing together. Don't worry about lines showing. Just smooth them out as you please. There. That's lovely. We're getting to the point where we're going to start thinking about our water because we've got some beautiful waterfront happening. And some of this is going to be covered by the water, and that's okay. We just need a nice strong layer that looks harmonious and happy together. So happy together. Ba, 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 ba. Don't worry, I'm not gonna go there. Grab some yellow and poke some yellow in here. There. So still just going over and over and smoothing out those lines. It's pretty dry over here. Acrylic paint, that's one of the challenges with acrylics is that they dry so fast. So it can make blending a real challenge, but this piece relies pretty heavily on blending, and so we have to solve that problem, and the spray bottle works really nicely for that. I'm going to just keep going like this around. I might make my mountain come all the way up here today. I don't know, we'll see what the painting decides. Oh, I've mucked it up there. That's okay. Okay, so let's leave it at that for now. Yep, I think I like my sky. I like how the colors are going. It's good to take a step back a little bit. Just pause for a second. Get your hands away from it and just look and see how you like what's going on. Do I like it? Do I not? I think I like it. I feel like I'm seeing some canvas through here though. I feel like the white is the coverage of the paint, because these are cheap paints like I said, so the white is kind of showing through a little bit. It's not going to show up if I try and go over it now. The paint's still wet. So I'm going to take this blue and red, and I'm going to go down here, and this is where we're going to do our water. Now, some of you have a steady hand. I'm not so steady, so I'm going to use a ruler. You don't have to. Oh, I'm going to drip my paint. Steady on, paint. It's not your time to shine just yet. Okay. I want to put, where do I want my water line? So I'm dividing my canvas into thirds, and I'm making my water line like the bottom third. I feel like that looks pretty close. So I'm just going to go bloop, like that. Don't worry if at the edges it's not really a straight line, because we're going to do some mountains up there, okay? Don't freak out, guys. Oh, look at that color. It likes it. It likes it being on the canvas. Don't you, color? Yes, you do. Okay, thank you, stick. You did a good job being a straight line for me. All right, we're going to keep on. We're almost going to go in the opposite order now that we did at the beginning. We're going to start purple and go lighter to the kind of greenish, that pale greenish color. So I'm starting purple, I'm dipping in just kind of red on one side, blue on the other side, and just slapping it on. And we're getting that nice rich dark color. And I'm just going back and forth. I'm kind of at a funny angle to be doing this. You'll be able to do better with yours because you're looking straight at your canvas, whereas I'm being a little askew so that you guys can see over my shoulder to what I'm doing here. Back and forth. Just straight back and forth. And your edges, don't forget your edges. There. Oh, look at that calm water. It's calling me to sit by it with a cup of tea. Okay, so I'm starting to phase out the red, and I'm just going to do even just a whole line of just blue there. You can do whatever you want down here. If you want to go right into the green, you can have stripes of green, whatever tickles your fancy. You can have, like I said, artistic license. Now I'm grabbing my yellow. I've got blue and yellow here, and when I get down here, I'm going to start. Now these guys are going to start a little dancing back and forth. I'm going to push the green up. I'm going to push the purple down. We're going to kind of just see what happens here. Love it. So I still have some purple on my brush. You can see it's coming out there and giving some nice variety of tone. Still pushing around, going up and down. There. Nice smooth lines though. I'm going to start back with my layer of white here, and I'm going to go pretty heavy with it because I want to lighten things up down here. I'm going to just clean my brush off a bit because I don't really want all that purple going on down there. So this is the first time since we've started that I'm dipping my brush in the water. A little tip that I love that can really help you save your paint is to spray your palette. Give your palette a little spritz. I just right onto it. It just keeps your paints moist and keeps them from hardening before their time so that you can still continue using them. All right, so now I'm going into the blue and the yellow, and we're going over the white, just getting a bit of a nice green. I'm grabbing a little more white because I want to lighten this up a little bit to because it's reflecting this moment up here, right? It needs to be a little more yellow, I think. Yep, there we go. Now when this all blends, there, that's starting to give us kind of that soft color like we had. Okay, so now I want to push this up and blend it into all these things that are happening up here. So I'm just doing a back and forth, and you can see how much it's being dragged with me. I don't want to go back that way, okay? I'm going to go back and forth, then I'll rub it up my brush off, clean it off a little bit, not in the water because I don't want to get it too wet, and then I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to push it up again. Really drag it up. There. I'm even going to do little pulls like that, I think, because I want to get it going up there. Now I'll go back and forth again. You see what yours needs though. You take a look at your painting, what you feel like needs to happen. I want it to be a little more yellow down here at the bottom, so I'm going to add that strip of white again. And I'm going to dab into the yellow a little bit. Bloop right across. There. And we're going to just drag this around just like the other colors. All right. Went into my edge a little bit. My edges are being kind of neglected this time. That's okay. I'll go in after and poke around on them. I need to go out to my edges over here. I am being a little reckless in neglecting my far edges because I know that we're going to be covering them with quite a bit of mountains coming down to the sea. again. I'm gonna give them some time here to get along with the other paints. There we go. Everybody's happy together. Get up there. Giving some rub-a-dubs to where there's still white of the canvas showing. Don't worry if you're way behind. Don't worry if you're still doing up here. You just go at your own pace. Everybody's different as a painter. Just you do you. There. I'm not going to go too crazy because there is a lot of mountain action happening over here. I'm maybe going to grab some more purple. Just shove some purple here. Because I don't want to limit myself about where the mountains have to go, right? Too much. Let's just scribble it in there. Get messy. See how instantly, one little spritz and instantly the paint flows beautifully, covers beautifully, is beautiful. Just is such a great little tip. Don't worry about there being variation in the tones. You can even take your brush now, wherever it is, whatever colors are going on in it, and you can just drag some colors through your canvas, because it is water, right? So don't freak out like if there's things going on with it that you didn't anticipate or intend. You can just let it go. I won't sing it. My kids will start yelling from the basement if I if I start. So I'll sit back for a second, take a look at what's going on with your canvas, see if you like what's happening. You notice I keep my drinking water far away from my paint water. Don't ask me why I do that. Yeah, you know. You guys know. I don't like that right there. Bloop. There. That's better. All right, it's mountain time, guys. The mountains are going to be the darkest dark of our painting. The sun, or the moon, sorry, is our whitest white. Brightest bright. The mountains are going to be our darkest dark. So for that, we're going to mix all three colors, red, yellow, and blue. No white whatsoever. I'm going to give my paintbrush a little clean off. And this is a bit of another sort of dance of the paint on the canvas, because we're going to be pushing the colors back and forth as we want the tone of the mountains to change. Maybe you want yours to be a little more reddish, maybe you want them purpley, and so you just push and pull as you want. So I'm just grabbing red, grabbing yellow, grabbing blue, so that I've got all three. Can you see that? There. All three on there. And I'm going to just pick any random spot on here, and I'm going to drag down a mountain. And so I want a nice big one. I think I want it going up as high as that. And I'm just going to smear all those colors down. You could use a palette knife for this if you want to get fancy. That could be fun. So you see as I go, they start all coming, the colors start all coming together and making this nice rich dark. I'm going to grab a little more blue because I feel like it's a bit kind of brownish, and I don't really want this painting to be, I want the whole thing to kind of have just that calm blue feel. So I'm grabbing a little more, I'm making it more blue heavy than any of the other colors. So you're starting to see the contrast between the other places on the painting and this one. Oh, I just sunk my hand into the white paint. It happens. I'm going nice and heavy with all of this. I better wipe that. It's important to keep your hands clean from paint. I know it looks super cool and like you're a serious painter when you're all covered in it, because I just abandoned myself to my art, blah, blah, blah. It's actually really bad for your body. There's huge problems with painters getting blood poisoning from paint being all over them. So don't do that. Love and honor your precious body and keep them clean from paint. All right, so I got my first mountain coming down. It's funny because one of the hardest things to do in art is the look of randomness. So things like trees and rocks and mountains and things, it's actually really hard to make them look random for some reason. It's a funny problem to have that it's tricky. I think I want to maybe jet out a little more there. Boop, boop, boop. One of the things that helps me is if I hold the paintbrush way back here, because then you don't have much control, right? It's tricky, and so your line, look at how jagged that's going already. Much more mountainy. There, look at that. That's a little tip for you. Hold your paintbrush by the very tip, the very end. Yeah, there, that's better. And then we just fill that in with our gloopy paints. All right, I don't want this to be too thick because I don't want it to take forever to dry. We've got layers to add here, you know. But I do need to drag that down and bring it over. I'm gonna grab some more paint. There. So we're getting a nice dark mountain happening in here. Look at this beautiful calm thing. Maybe it kind of comes up like that. Holding from my end of my paintbrush again. Kind of use my shaky hands to my advantage. And you'll find that at some parts it kind of gets lost in the darkness of the water. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It just adds to the calm of it, right? That you can't quite see what's going on, and it's going to be beautiful. All right, so I'm going to just leave that one for a second, and let's go over and start shaping some of the other mountains that we want. I think maybe let's get this one happening. This one's going to be a little smaller. It's going to kind of come from somewhere around here. It's going to come and see its friend. Hey, buddy. I'm coming to the water too. It's going to go down a little bit lower, like there. We're just slapping paint on, guys. Just slap it on your canvas. So you can see, because I've got these cheap paints I'm using, you can see they're not covering completely. This is going to require layers. So I'm not making this too thick so that it will dry, and I can go back in and poke in some more layers. You'll notice that this looks very, there's no realism whatsoever. It just kind of looks like a big voidy blob of paint. The form will come later. Don't panic right now if it looks just like a vast void. Fear not. Where else? What else do I want happening here? Maybe another one coming like this.
Some people are very sad that they came late.
Oh, don't worry, you'll be able to watch the whole thing start to finish. No worries at all. Okay, so I'm doing my trick again. I'm going to the end of my paintbrush. I'm going bloopity bloop bloop. Just trying to get it. Very random feeling. Like that.
Couple of comments. It's a very beautiful painting.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Thank you for that kind word. Let's bring this guy way over. Yeah. It's like right in front of us. Look at that. There, like the water's telling you, time for bed. Go to sleep now. Make the mountains look like they're sleeping. How are we for time there? How long have we been going now?
We went for 41 minutes.
41 minutes.
Time flies when you're painting.
Time flies when you're painting. So on my first one, I didn't really leave any of these thick brush strokes on it. I really like what's happening in there. So I'm going to leave them. And in fact, I might go a little crazy and put them in over here. I think I want this mountain to be a little more purpley. So I'm going to grab some big purpley ones and get some thicker brush strokes in. There. All right. I think I want a little mini one. Ooh, sorry, I just bumped my microphone with my paintbrush. Okay, I'll do a little mini over here. All right. If you guys can comment, I'd love to hear. If anyone's painting along with me now, I'd love to hear how yours is going. If you're going to do it later, you can post comments and pictures later and show me what you did. I want to see your beautiful creation. This looks like a little lady's finger sticking out. Just about to dab the water. That's cool. I don't want to leave it an odd or an even number. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sticking out, so I think I want one more, probably right here. Going right up. Yeah. This is where it's finicky. There's no recipe for it to be perfectly pleasing to you. You just have to kind of keep playing around, poking things in. You can put a little island in there if you want something sticking out of it. You can, once again I say, use artistic license in what you're doing. I think, well, first I need more blue paint. Another squirt, please. These are the Michael's brand. I'll show you the paints. It's this one here. I think this was like, these are $15 each, but it's a whole quart, and Michael's always has those 50% off coupons. So I got each of these for 8 something or 40% off or whatever. So that's very reasonable for for this quality of paint, that's a really good price when you use that coupon. I bought these before quarantine. Don't anybody jump down my throat. These were actually purchased for another paint night that I was supposed to do that ended up having to be canceled, sadly. So we just did it anyway. We just did the painting on my channel anyway. Oh, that's nice. I like how that looks now. Just giving a little more depth to the color. You can go in funny directions with it. Mountains are great because they're so forgiving. You can kind of just do whatever you want, and the mountain says, okay, yeah, I can go that way, sure. There. So what we're going to do later is poke in some spots of light with yellow. And it's just going to make all of these really pop. There. I think I like what this one's doing even better than the sample one that I did. I might change how I feel later today, but for now I'm liking it. I think I want this to go a bit lower. I think it's still a bit wet underneath with the white. That white is one that dries pretty slowly, so this might be trying to pick up white. Okay. I think I'm happy with my mountains. The roots of the mountains coming down. Kind of a Lord of the Rings feel to it, isn't it? I'm actually going to need a little more red. Oh, that was too much. Oh well, what are you going to do? I actually have entire canvases that are exclusively for using up leftover paint. Where I don't really know what the picture's going to be until the very end. I'm disobeying my rule. I wanted this to be very blue looking, like my sample that I painted, but I'm kind of liking the red today, so I'll just keep them both, and then depending on my mood, I can change it up. All right. My problem here that I'm gonna face though now is that with all these really thick brush strokes, like I put the paint on really thick, is that it's going to be a real challenge for me to show you guys poking in the spots of light, because the paint's not going to take it. The dark is going to try and overpower it a little bit. We'll have to really put in some effort to get those spots of light showing. Okay, I think it's time. I lied. It's not quite time for the spots of light. It's just the shapes of these aren't working for me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I want another one coming out here. I say maybe as I just dive in and do it. Maybe this would be nice. Ah, too late now, it's gonna have to be. Do I like this? Maybe. We'll find out. That's too red now. It's funny because I'm at a weird angle, like I said, so I can be showing you guys all this, but it makes the light fall on the canvas weird, and Makes it a little hard to see what the colors are doing. I don't mind, no, I'm not going to be prideful about it. If it's not very good, that's okay.
We have 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes. All right, I better move on. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we need our spots of light. We need our moments of light on the water. So I'm going to go directly with a clean brush. I'm taking a clean brush this time. I'm going to go directly into my white, and I'm going to start dragging. Actually, I want this to be nice and smooth, this line. This brush needs, I haven't used this brush in a while and it's all stiff. I need to just soften the bristles. Okay, so I've got a nice line going. I'm gonna just go straight across here. And we're doing, this is our water, right? So don't worry about it being perfectly straight. You're gonna have variation. Now, okay, something to remember, you can always put more in, but once it's there, it's hard to take it off. You can, if you feel like I just really don't like how it looks and I can't cover it, take a brush, dip it in some water, and you can, here, I'll show you. You can erase. Wait, how dry is this? It's still a little tacky, so maybe you can't. Never mind, you're stuck with it if you don't like it. I'm just kidding. All you would do is dip your brush in and give it a little rub-a-dub with a wet brush, and it can lift up some of what you just did if you don't like it. But you have to be careful because usually what I would do is say wait, let all of this dry, and then go in with your white. So if you're watching from home after the fact, do that. Wait till it's dry and go back in, because then you can erase if you don't like it. Once the paint underneath is dry, it's not going to come up. And if you want this to be really smooth, you can go here. I'll even do it. Let's do that. You can make it kind of misty looking, like smoother on the water if you want, just by going back and forth over it a little bit. Or you can leave it like I had it initially, where it's giving you some more defined wave moments. This is making the water look a little just a little calmer. But you decide what you like on yours, how you like it. So I'm wanting to remember that you want this lined up underneath the moon, right? You want it to correlate with where the position of your moon, so that the closest point to you correlates to the middle of the moon. So I'm going to drop that line down, just a plumb line straight down. So that's about where I want the tip of the triangle. We're kind of making a triangle shape with our water lines. You don't want to go too crazy, but we also want it there, right? We want it to be seen. I feel like I'm not enjoying this brush here. It's too clumsy. I'm going to switch to one of my little tiny brushes. I'm going to use this one. This is just a very tiny flat tip brush. It's nice for these little fiddly bits, I call them. We're trying to stick to an hour for this painting, but the beauty of technology is you guys can take as long as you want. It's a little too uniform, this triangle. I'm just gonna poke some of these out a little further. Again, it's that trick where it's hard to get the look of it being random. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that for now. Now we want our moments of light. I hope this works. Okay, so this is where we're going to really shape our mountains, okay? You've got your big blobby void of mountain. I think actually let's use the white for our spots of light instead of the yellow. Let's use white. I want a nice thin bit of white. So what you can do is even get your brush wet and just kind of dab it on a paper towel a little bit so that your brush is a little bit damp, and then go in. I might need to use mine a bit thicker because my paint is so thick. I don't know if this is going to work especially well because I've been selfish and wanted to do the really thick paint instead of showing you exactly what the sample showed, but whatever, it's okay. Like I said, we all have artistic license. All right, so this is, you're going to put spots of light everywhere that is sticking out from the mountain. We're going to give it some form using these spots of light. So of course, a little bit along the edges, I'm going to have right here, there's going to be some light. And again, you're kind of holding your brush out a little bit is going to help you give those looks of random lines. So I'm going along here a little bit, maybe down here, and along there. That's the outside edge that I'm tracing, but there's inside edges too. The mountain sticks out maybe right here, and I go down the edge. This is going to be a lot of me wiping the brush, dipping in it again fresh, because the paint is so wet on my canvas. If yours is nice and dry, you just go do your little spaghetti lines all over the place. Anywhere that you want to say, this is rock that is standing out.
Flying by is dropping in just to say hi. Hope you and the family are doing well.
Oh, thanks.
Our neighbor who has been stopping in to say hi every now and then.
Hey. Welcome, welcome. I'm making these a little more bold than I usually would so that you guys can see them a bit more clearly, but I would soften these a little bit in a piece that I was going to sell. So I hope you can kind of see what I'm doing as I go, that it's just these drag moments. I put a little spray of water on my palette just so that I can dip it in and get it wet from there and kind of clean it right on my palette. Sorry, I'm getting my face all in your way. Okay, I think I want another one right there. So you see how I'm forming rocks out of nowhere, right? These aren't things that I've defined yet on the piece, but we're just kind of grabbing them from where the lines naturally fall. Like there's kind of a bump in the paint right there. So I'm just going to turn that into a big rock sticking out. Oh, there's a big one right there, I think. Down here, yeah, look at that. So we keep going. We are running out of time, and so I want to jump ahead. You guys keep going, but I just want to, before we end the video, I want to show you guys how we put the verse in. You pick whatever verse or quote that you want to go along the top there. Wait until this whole part is dry before you do your quote. And I actually used a blue Sharpie on the sample piece. Are you able to zoom in on the quote? No? Okay, that's okay. I waited till this was completely dry, and then I took a pencil and...
I can make it bigger. There you go.
Not too big because I made it. Okay, this is a big joke. I made I made a mistake on the reference. I thought it was, I wrote it down as Proverbs 4:8, but it was actually Psalms. So if you look at the reference, you can see I had to like go back in and kind of make it into saying Psalms instead of Proverbs. It's so embarrassing. Don't judge me. I should have checked the quote beforehand. Anyway, don't make the same mistake I did. Check your reference clearly before you actually put it on there permanently, because now I have to go in and paint over it and ugh. So I took a pencil and just ever so gently, I held up a straight line, a piece of something that would be a straight line from the top to there, and I just literally very, very lightly drew a straight line on my canvas, and it will erase, okay? So you draw your straight line, unless you have that miraculous ability where it just goes straight when you write, or you could go around. That was one of my other thoughts, is that you could also put the quote going around the moon, and that would be beautiful too, going like that and like this. So you have options. You can put your quote in however you want. I liked sort of two lines, and then the moon is kind of in the middle there, and then your other two lines there. You can have them askew if you want to have two up here and then the next two down there, or if it's just one line, you know, however you want to do it. Just throw your quote in there somewhere, and then go back in when you're finished with a nice soft eraser. Make sure the eraser is clean before you erase your lines. So to clean it, you can literally, if you're wearing jeans, that's the best, rub your eraser along your jeans, and that'll clean it really nicely. I know that's a professional tip, really. And then just go in and erase your lines. I even wrote in with pencil the quote itself, and then went over it in Sharpie, and it turned out really nicely, except for my terrible mistake of the the reference. Anyway, I'm going to let the time run out as I keep doing my spots of light, and I want to thank everybody for joining me. And I hope that you end up with something beautiful that you love, that will give you some moments of hope and peace, in not just in these strange times we're living in, but always, that you can look at it and think, oh yeah, God's got this. Everything's gonna be okay. And sleep is important. Maybe I should go to sleep. Yep. Sometimes I hear my kids getting restless downstairs. Yep. Sometimes. Well, I love you guys, and wish you every blessing, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.